At the beginning, I welcome all of you. Today, we're going to talk about the Handmaiden. This is a story of conspiracy and greed, how a person becomes blinded by greed and crosses every limit, and how someone wants to be free at any cost. The story begins in Korea. Here, we see a young girl among many others who have come for work, and she is crying. Her name is Suki. Sokea is going to the mansion of Kazuki, a very rich man and one of the wealthiest people in Korea. He owns gold mines, and he became rich because he helped the Japanese when they took control of Korea. As a reward, the Japanese supported him and made him powerful. Kazuki lives in a huge mansion and is obsessed with culture. His estate is 3 sections, one built in British style, one in Korean style, and one in Japanese style. After a long journey, Suki arrives at the mansion. She learns that her job is to take care of Kazuki's niece, Hideko. On her first night, Hideko suddenly screams and calls Suki. She says she feels scared and believes her aunt's ghost is still wandering in the house. We learn that when Hideko was a child, Kazuki's wife committed suicide. Hideko saw her hanging from a tree, and that image has stayed in her mind ever since. To comfort her, Suki stays with Hideko so she won't be afraid. The next morning, Suki meets the other servants. They tease her and give her the wrong shoes. She then learns more about Hideko when she was 5 years old. Her parents died, and since then she has been living with her uncle. She has no freedom and feels suffocated inside the mansion. She spends most of her time reading books for Kazuki. He loves rare books and forces Hideko to read them aloud in front of guests. Suki is called by Hideko. She notices that Suki's feet are injured and understands that the servants played a prank on her. Suki shows her a letter, saying that the person who sent her here wrote it. But Hideko quickly realizes that Suki cannot read. Instead of exposing her, she says she will teach her Japanese. Hideko opens her wardrobe full of beautiful clothes and lets Suki try them. Suki feels happy. Meanwhile, Suki secretly explores Hideko's belongings and tries on her clothes when she's not around. One day she enters Kazuki's library, but is immediately stopped. He warns her never to enter, because he's extremely protective of his books. He has even designed the house in a way that sunlight does not damage them. He values books more than anything. Suki becomes scared and leaves. Then Fujiwara arrives. He pretends to be a nobleman and starts teaching painting to Hideko. But in reality, he is a fraud. He later calls Suki to his room and reveals the truth. Suki is not a maid. She is a trained pickpocket. She was raised by a woman who trains children to become con artists. Fujiwara hired her for a plan. He wants to marry Hideko, declare her insane, send her to an asylum, and take all her wealth. Suki's role in this entire plan was very specific. She had to stay close to Hideko, gain her complete trust, and slowly manipulate her into believing that Fujiwara truly loved her. The goal was simple: make Hideko fall in love, agree to marriage, and then everything else would fall into place. In return, Suki would receive a huge amount of money. At first, she agreed to all of this purely out of greed. For her, this was just another job, another con. But things didn't go the way she expected. As time passed, Suki began spending more time with Hideko. She stayed with her at night, comforted her when she was scared, and slowly became the only person Hideko felt safe with. They started sharing personal moments, talking about their past, and understanding each other's pain. And during this time, Suki unknowingly started getting emotionally attached. What was supposed to be fake started becoming real. On the other side, Fujiwara continued playing his part. He would deliberately act late, make Hideko wait, and create emotional tension. Then he would appear and act charming, slowly gaining her attention. During the painting lessons, he would touch her under the excuse of teaching, trying to build physical closeness. Suki noticed all of this, and it began to bother her. She even tried to interrupt them at times, but the plan had already started moving forward. Eventually, Fujiwara proposes marriage. Hideko becomes confused and unsure. She doesn't understand whether she should trust him or not, so she turns to Suki for advice. Now this is where things become complicated. Even though Suki had started developing real feelings for Hideko, she still told her to accept the proposal, because she was still bound to the plan and the promise of money. Hideko agrees, and soon, they get married. This is exactly what Fujiwara wanted. Now comes the final step of the plan. After the marriage, Hideko was supposed to be declared mentally unstable and sent to an asylum. This would allow Fujiwara to take complete control of her wealth. Everything seems perfectly set, but suddenly, everything flips. Instead of Hideko, Suki is declared insane. The asylum workers grab her and take her away. She screams, tries to explain, but no one listens. At that moment, she realizes that both Fujiwara and Hideko have betrayed her. She has been used and thrown away. Now the story shifts, and we finally see the truth from Hideko's side. Hideko's life was never luxurious. It was a prison. Kazuki raised her in a disturbing and abusive environment. From childhood, she was forced to read explicit and disturbing books in front of rich men. She wasn't just reading, she was performing those stories with expressions and emotions. These men would sit and enjoy it, and Kazuki would sell those books at a high price. This continued for years. Kazuki's wife could not bear this life. She was mentally and emotionally tortured. Eventually, she committed suicide by hanging herself. And Hideko witnessed this horrifying scene. That trauma stayed with her forever. She grew up believing she could never escape. Kazuki even showed her the basement, a place where people who tried to escape were tortured, their bodies mutilated, their tongues cut. This was done to ensure she would never try to run away. Then Fujiwara entered her life. But unlike what we thought earlier, Hideko was not just a victim. She understood the situation. Fujiwara told her his plan: to marry her, send her to an asylum, and take her wealth. But instead of refusing, Hideko decided to use him. She agreed to be part of the plan, but on her own terms. She asked Fujiwara to bring a maid, someone who would take her place. That maid was Suki. The real plan was this: Suke would be trained, brought into the mansion, and eventually be framed as Hideko. So when the time came, she would be sent to the asylum instead, and Hideko would escape. Or something changed. During this plan, Hideko and Suki genuinely fell in love. Their relationship was no longer fake. At one point, Hideko even tries to end her life the same way her aunt did. But Suki saves her. And in that moment, the truth is revealed. Hideko tells Suke everything. That she knew about the plan. That she was also deceiving her. That Fujiwara was just a tool. Suke is shocked. But instead of turning against her, they both decide to work together. Now they create a new plan. Suki escapes from the asylum. She creates chaos inside and finds a way out. Meanwhile, Hideko continues acting like everything is normal. She pretends to go along with Fujiwara. She takes him with her. And at the right moment, she drugs him. He becomes unconscious. She takes all the money and escapes. On the other side, Kazuki captures Fujiwara. Now that everything is exposed, Kazuki realizes Fujiwara is a fraud. He begins torturing him brutally. But Fujiwara has one final trick. He asks for a cigarette. But that cigarette is laced with poison. As he smokes it, the poison spreads. And Kazuki, who is in close contact, is also affected. In the end, both of them die. Together. Finally, Suki and Hideko reunite. They leave Korea on a ship. This time, they are free. No lies. No manipulation. No control. For the first time in their lives, they're choosing their own future. Together.